So the last couple of days have brought a number of angry people into my live stream. And the people were asking, what is your take on the current tempo situation? Which led me to realize that there is a tempo situation, because my tempo situation is that it's currently, kind of like the average mall. It's completely dead and unused. So when I started looking around, trying to figure out what the hell is going on and why is everyone angry about the tempo, you very quickly stumble upon photos like this one. If you go to Reddit or Twitter, you're going to see people posting screenshots of them absolutely printing up to 200 divine worth an hour inside of the tempo. Okay, so what's actually happening and why are people mad? Well, in the beginning of the league, when the tempo came out, it was very quickly established that the league mechanic is sort of unfun, takes a large amount of time to set up. Primarily, one of the points of feedback is you have to run 6 maps to even get attempt to do it once, which gives you 6 rooms, and 2 of those rooms are removed after, so you only gain 4 rooms. And basically, if you do the math on it, it takes hundreds of maps to get the tempo set up. So the time investment required into the tempo is pretty insane, and the rewards were lackluster. This actually had the effect of them rushing out a patch in order to buff the mechanic more in a much needed way, to be quite honest. But what you're seeing here is people figured out, some people are calling it exploit or bug or abuse. I'm going to use it, unintended game mechanics or whatever terminology. It doesn't really matter where you settle on the argument. But what happened was people figured out that there's a zone that they can reset in that makes the Vol tempo appear right next to the checkpoint. And basically you can just farm the entry to this tempo astronomically quicker as compared to even in-game. So people are literally making new characters to farm the tempo for in-game juicing, some of the most juice this game's ever seen, probably the most juice other than the ritual exploit, okay? So that this game has ever seen by actually being in the campaign, which seems a little weird, right? So you see some people being upset by this, and understandably so to some degree. However, I want to stop for a moment before we talk about the rest of this and what's going on, because I want to make the point here real quick that there's a well-known Pox clip, if you've been around the PoE community for a while, in which he states that if you start comparing yourself to another person in Path of Exile that you are watching, that is when the game starts becoming unfun for you. And I would actually very much quote that same thing back to you in this scenario. I have been playing this league because I literally get paid to play it. It is literally my job. And the people that are farming this have made my entire league worth of currency, I'm talking 100 plus hours, in less than 1 hour with this strategy. So I have been grinding like a no-life, and the people that are using this are able to do all of my time in a bit, which would lead people like myself to think, well, I'm just fucking useless. I can't do anything. Why would I even bother playing if some guy's out there in 30 minutes doing my entire net worth, in 30 minutes? What's even the point? In fact, you don't have to go far. Even in the comments of this own post, you're going to see people either between calling for bans or saying they want to quit, and all of this shit. And 100%, I'm just going to say it now, this is not the first nor the last time that this will happen in the game. And if you quit the league every time that you see some dude out there making a fuckload of divines more than you, guess what? You're not playing any of the leagues, because this is going to happen almost every time. GGG is always going to make some kind of mistake, or some person's going to figure out the min-max strategy, or there's going to be an abuse situation or an exploit of some kind. And because of that, if some guy figures that out, then you're going to be quitting every league. I'm going to tell you right now that you can play this league and have an absolutely fine time. I watched a Matho video this morning, which I don't think I've ever agreed with a video more. And he says in that video, and he goes through different fun items like Headhunter and the new unique spear and all of these items, and showcases that prices are the same, if not actually gone down, and that the impact to you as the average player is mostly, and I'm paraphrasing here, just psychological one. Basically, it's based upon you comparing yourself to another person, and I think that is exactly this situation. Okay. Because if you're picking up every single Exile to trade into Divine, absolutely that ratio is going to skyrocket. It already does skyrocket every league, but it's going to skyrocket more so now because of this type of situation. However, If you're picking up exalts to turn in divine, you're getting ass blasted by all of the people that are out there juicing just normal maps literally anyway, okay? This was happening before this mechanic. You were getting outpaced. So if you want my advice personally, if you're one of these people that are feeling really pissed off and bummed out about the economy, you could try using the currency the way God intended, actually using it to craft your gear as you get it and just say, fuck all of that stuff literally anyway, or you could just ignore this and play the game anyway, because honestly, if you actually look at the impact of things like Headhunter, etc., like the fun items that maybe you're saving up for, they're the same goddamn price. Basically, is what it boils down to, or actually getting cheaper because people are printing more of them in this thing and then dispersing it, okay? You know, like Jesus with the breads are getting duplicated here in this temple and then sent out to the peasants to feed them. And that's sort of like a very similar situation we're seeing here, okay? Okay, so now the juicy part that people probably want to know, is this a bug? Is this an exploit? Should we be mad at people and should we be banning people? You know who I actually blame for this? I blame GGG, let's be honest. This is not like the first time that resetting a checkpoint has been an issue. Like this has happened before. It was already in the game. I know this for a fact because if you didn't know this, back in 0.3, you could actually reset on a checkpoint and regenerate essences. So if you found a greater essence, it would snapshot that there's a greater essence in the location you found it. You could pick up the greater essence. You could reset the checkpoint, walk right back, and there would be another greater essence, another random greater essence. And you could do this for as many times as every map has like a limit to how many things it can generate. And you could do that up to the limit of what it would be. So you could get like a dozen greater essences per instance or something like that. It was just, you know, stupid, basically. Well, I reported this and it was fixed within the league, okay? And when I found that out, I just like, hey, that's a fuck up. You know, I found that out playing through the campaign 0.3 the first time going through Act 4 because they forgot about this in Act 4. Seems like the same mistake of like resetting the actual, you know, mechanic next to the checkpoint is still in the game. What's going to have, if it's not one person, it's going to be another person. Like somebody is going to find the strategy that makes the most tinks happen, and they're going to receive those amount of tinks. And if that is a problem, the company needs to make sure that there is, you know, less of these bugs as possible. I think it looks boring as fuck to do, but like if you're someone who likes to chase tinks, I understand. And resetting mechanics in an ARPG is not exactly like the most uncommon thing in ARPGs in general. And I think the reality of it is that if you're getting caught up in all of this anger and everything, you're kind of looking for a reason to not play the game. Like if you're like, well, I might log in and you see this and get dissuaded, like you're not really trying to like have fun and play the game. Like you can just play the game, dude. You can still play it. You do not have to get to the end game and actually get 50 divine in order for the game to be an enjoyable experience for you. And honestly, you might actually learn something from using your currencies as opposed to just using the currencies only to buy something. You might figure out how to actually craft. And then instead of having to save money up to actually buy the gear that gets crafted, that's going so much up in price you can never afford it, you can just craft it yourself. It took me about 30 minutes to figure out how to craft gloves. And I made like 30 divine selling gloves, and it only cost me like 2 divine worth of currency to buy and craft the gloves. It might be like, oh, well, you know, here, let me show you. It might be like, oh, well, you are a streamer. You got to figure out. It's like, bro, this was literally as easy as like buying white items, slamming the perfects until I got strength in life, slamming it with a perfect regal until I got hybrid life, and then just slamming it with normal exalts, and then using the essence that did increased effective socketed items, and then volleying it and hope I get third socket. It's literally just using the orbs. And then, you know what? One of those pair of gloves sold for 15 divine immediately. Like you could learn how to actually make the items by using your currency or by saving up and then, you know, using, I mean, these items aren't even expensive to get the essences to actually craft it. So I would probably push you in the direction of like actually learning to play the game and using this time of the economy's fucked, which, I mean, it depends upon what you're trying to do, I guess. But like, I'm having a hard time finding the impact outside of Exalted Divine Ratio that would really ruin the game for you. You can use this time, if you really feel that way, to learn the parts of the game that normally are locked out to you because you are focused on the economy of like, I can't use my chaoses, I can't use my exalts because I need to save them to trade with. Now is a good time to utilize the currencies that are being dropped that you would have had anyway to actually learn the game, to be able to sharpen your weapons for the economic PvP of next week. If that's what if you really need something to do, maybe I'd push you in that direction, okay? That's just my take on the situation. You're welcome to disagree, and I'm sure there's going to be a million people in the comments calling me a fucking idiot for not calling for the ban and being angry and, raging and all of that. But my result of this is just, I'm playing SSF because it's something to do at the moment, and I'm just trying to have fun with the game. I'm not going to compare myself against the people that are farming literal mirrors. I've never even had a mirror. I've never had the percentage of a mirror. So why am I going to worry about it? That's about it. Later.